Today we are going to be reading some Am I the A-hole stories from Reddit. Am I the a-hole for getting one of my coworkers fired? I, 20 male, am a server at this restaurant, and my former coworker Sophia, 18 female, was also a server who has gone off to college. For context, I would always make these dumb but funny jokes about babysitting Sophia considering I'm older than she is, and I've been working there for longer than her, and she is barely an adult, but I still made those jokes about her when she was still 17. Honestly though, Sophia is pretty much a baby. But anyways, around Sophia's last few days working here, I made a joke which left her embarrassed. I was making a salad, and then she came over to make one as well, and she made a joke saying that it smelled like eggs, and she asked if it was me. I told her that it was probably because her body smells like fish. She didn't say much, and later I continued to say, "Can anyone smell something fishy?" in front of other coworkers, and everyone laughed, but Sophia moved her hair in my face, and I said that she had lice, and everyone once again laughed. Sophia was very upset and didn't speak to me for the rest of the shift, and I tried talking to her, but she wouldn't even look at me. At one point, one of the prep cooks asked me why I treated her like that, and even said that I traumatized her. The problem is that Sophia got bullied when she was in high school for these exact reasons, and I only brought back all her trauma by what I said. I didn't know though. Towards the end of our shifts, I was closing and I thought it'd be funny to mess with Sophia by asking her if I have to babysit her again. She got really angry and told me to shut the F up and leave her alone. I went and told the shift lead, and she went and had a word with Sophia about how she needs to keep things professional, and our manager also had a word with her, and she got written up for talking like this. Once we were let out, she ran to her car in tears and drove home. The next day she filed a complaint to HR and even told another manager, and I got talked to. Throughout the shift, she wouldn't speak to me. I asked if she can hand something to me, she wouldn't do it. Towards the end of the shift, I was one of the closers and I was in charge of checking tables. She asked the other server that was closing with me to check them, and she told her to get over herself already and to ask me. In the end, she went and got the manager to check them because she wasn't going to speak to me. I was only trying to make a joke. Recently, Sophia got fired, and I haven't heard anything since. So I'd like to know, am I the a-hole? This is one of the most obvious stories you will ever read on this subreddit. What's crazy to me is that the OP responded to a lot of comments, completely oblivious as to why they may consider him to be in the wrong here. In his comments, he also says that he makes jokes about everyone and that there's only two people that can't take a joke and that they're babies. And this is just someone who thinks the world of themselves and can't understand how someone might not like them joking all the time. And let's not forget that making the first joke about smelling fishy, I think we all know what exactly you're trying to say there, and that's definitely not okay in a workplace. And then on top of that, after you pushed her to her boiling point, you went and you told on her like a little baby. That's insane that you would bully someone and then tell on them for their reaction. If this isn't rage bait, I would be so surprised. I completely feel for this girl, and it's so sad that she had to put up with someone like this in the workplace. But with that being said, let's get into the next story. Am I the a-hole for siding with my kid against my wife? My first impression is yes, sir, you are, but let's give you the benefit of the doubt and read. My 44 male, wife 42 female, and I have 3 kids. Let's call them Josh, 15 male, Megan, 14 female, and Sharon, 12 female. Wife has always enforced strict rules. The relevant rule here is her rule around chores. She has a list of chores for the kids to complete weekly before Saturday morning. Make your bed, do your laundry, do your dishes, take out the trash, vacuum the living room, clean their rooms, clean their shared bathroom. Each week, wife will assign communal chores to each kid, and each one is responsible for their individual chores like cleaning their own room. These chores are assigned ahead of the week, and if they're not done by Saturday morning, they can kiss their weekend plans goodbye. They're not grounded, but wife revokes their privileges to hang out with their friends until chores are done. Josh has entered his rebellious phase, and he's really been pushing limits recently. This weekend, he had plans to go snowboarding with his friends. He assured his mom and me that his chores would be done this morning. Come today, Saturday, the dishes haven't been touched, his laundry remains in the hamper, and you can't walk through his room. He was fully decked out in his snow gear, and when wife asked him what he thought he was doing, he grinned and proudly announced he came up with a plan. He made an agreement with his sisters that if they did his chores today, he would do all of the communal chores the following week. I thought this showed good problem solving. Wife felt differently. She said that was not the agreement. He started to bargain and negotiate with wife, growing increasingly desperate and frustrated. Trying to be a mediator, I asked my wife if it was really necessary to revoke his ski trip. He found a way to make it work so the chores got done, and we teach our kids to keep our commitments, and he made a commitment to his friends to go snowboarding with them. My son couldn't have looked happier in that moment. Wife was floored. She said he came up with this plan without running it by her. It might be a different story if he brought the solution to her last night. She said he could not go, end of story. This might be where I am the a-hole. Unable to control his anger, he yelled, "F you" to wife. You could hear a pin drop in that moment. I was so caught off guard by this outburst, I started laughing and could not stop. Wife looked at me with betrayal, then she quietly grabbed her purse and walked out of the house. I know I shouldn't have lost my composure, but I honestly am not sure if I'm the a-hole for siding with my son. Wife's rules seemed a little unreasonable given the weight of the outcome. Okay, so first thought is, throughout this whole thing and at the beginning, you say your wife has these strict rules. It's not my wife has these strict rules for our kids. We have these rules for our kids. Second of all, you're trying to say we teach our kids to keep our commitments, but you should also teach your kids the consequences of their actions, or in this case, inaction. He did not do what he was supposed to do, and there's a consequence to that. And lastly, I think I will mention the fact that your son yelled F you to his mom. It's clear that there's no respect there, and the fact that you're kind of siding with your son definitely means that you're kind of contributing to maybe your kids being spoiled and not respecting your wife or the rules. I should have said this at the beginning. Your wife comes before your children, no matter what, and you should never disagree with your wife in front of your children like this. You guys are a team, you act together, and you make decisions together. You guys could have gone off to the side and maybe figured out a decision before, you fully disagree with her in front of your son. The fact is he didn't do his chores. Now, how do you know that you can trust your son to do the communal chores next week? The fact that you don't even agree with your wife's rules, saying that she has strict rules, you're kind of sowing seeds of discourse within your own family, and that is really not good, my friend. You got to get on the same page with your wife, love your wife, and act as a team. You're definitely the a-hole, and all the comments say this as well. They're maybe a little bit more harsh as well. All right, on to the next story. Am I the bottom hole for asking my newly married son and daughter-in-law to alternate Christmas Day visits between our house and the in-laws' house? My son got married this past fall, and my wife and I are thrilled for him and his wife. They are wonderful, and we are genuinely supportive of them creating their own life and traditions. I am also very much in the camp of once you get married, your wife becomes your primary family and the parents are immediately relegated to second tier. They informed us that their new tradition will be to spend Christmas Eve with us and then spend Christmas Day and morning together before going to the daughter-in-law's parents' house for the rest of Christmas Day, lunch, dinner, etc. My wife and I honestly were somewhat hurt by this. While we appreciate getting Christmas Eve, the implication is that for every Christmas going forward, we will never host them on Christmas Day. While her parents will always have them on the day itself, we feel this arrangement is inherently unfair and diminishes our role in their new holiday traditions. And we aren't even talking about grandkids yet. But if/when they come, this is going to be exponentially worse. We know it's not practical for them to visit two houses on Christmas Day, but we want to gently push back and propose an alternating schedule. This is our proposal. Year 1, Christmas Eve with us, Christmas Day with daughter-in-law's family. Year 2, Christmas Eve with daughter-in-law's family, and Christmas Day with us. My question is it reasonable for us to push back on their initial plan and suggest this alternating schedule? If so, how can we best communicate this to them without sounding demanding or unsupportive? We want to maintain a good relationship, but we also want to feel it's important to establish a fair balance now before the tradition is set in stone. Thank you for any neutral perspectives or advice, especially from those who have been the parent or the adult child in this situation. And they put in an edit to clarify. My son is one of 4 adult siblings. My daughter-in-law is one of 3 adult siblings. Since I forgot this is the internet, let me clarify. I am of the belief that when someone enters into marriage, they are starting a new chapter of their life and are laying the groundwork for a new family. It is completely reasonable that their relationships with their parents, siblings, grandparents, etc. will evolve and their new life will slowly take precedence over that from which they came. I in no way want to make my son feel like I am saying he has to continue doing/feeling or living the same way he has, and I want to make sure it comes across clearly that I fully embrace and celebrate that he has a new family while at the same time reminding him that he does have parents, siblings, etc. And we would still like to celebrate with him. I'm hoping for insightful, real-world feedback that is more than "he has a new life now, Pops," is what I was trying to get at. I would say you're not the bottom hole, but as a newlywed, it is pretty stressful trying to make plans and everything. So having people be upset with the plans that you've created is also more stressful. It's like you're trying to please everyone, and of course, not everyone is going to be pleased, and now you want them to change it. And that's not only going to affect them, but it's going to affect the other side of the family as well. It's just never going to work out perfectly. You know, your kids, they're leaving home, they're getting married, maybe they'll have kids one day. So you kind of have to be happy with the fact that they're coming to see you for the holidays. On one hand, you say, yes, they're supposed to create their own traditions. They're supposed to prioritize themselves. He's supposed to prioritize his wife. But then at the same time, you're saying, well, I'm not happy that we're not prioritized enough. And it sounds like maybe it's like a little bit of jealousy that the other side of the family, the daughter-in-law's family, is getting the day that you perceive to be more special. It's about spending time together. It doesn't actually matter what day exactly it's on. One of the comments here says, my entire childhood, we spent Christmas Eve with my mom's family and Christmas Day with my dad's side. Exactly the same with me. This worked well because it coordinated with both extended families. The actual day didn't matter. Who was there did. Christmas Eve never felt any less special than the day itself. If they're coming to see you and you're spending time together, everybody wins.